Lloyd, thanks very much for coming on the podcast, mate.
Always, mate. Glad to be here, guys.
Just to give the audience a bit of an introduction into yourself, I'll come up with a few bits, a sort of brief summary I know of you. Obviously, Lloyd Cooper, with the brand or nickname Yorkshire Gripper, which
good nickname. Most people don't actually know my real name. It's just Yorkshire Gripper,
which might be the coolest nickname. Obviously, it might not be that popular with the ladies, but it's a pretty cool nickname, to be fair. Obviously, competed national and European level. One of the biggest names in UK jiu-jitsu. Leg lock specialist. That's your main part of your game. Owner of Gripper Jiu-Jitsu, which obviously getting bigger and bigger. Like going into the lion's den of a club, but brilliant sort of brotherhood of a club, and also as a sideline, which
more like a dungeon, right? Sex dungeon.
Yeah. Work in this defence space, which I suppose won't be that popular with some people these days, but
fuck them.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, mate, massive pleasure to have you on, mate. And we normally sort of start these things with sort of starting from the beginning of where you're kind of from and sort of your journey, I suppose, of how you ended up getting into jiu-jitsu. But if you just want to start us from day one, it'd be
wow. Okay. So I'm from a mining village in South Yorkshire. So
proper Yorkshire then.
Yeah, South Yorkshire mining village. Literally, the local economy was driven on people going down the pit and stuff like that. And I think, in all intents and purposes, I had a good upbringing. Mum and dad who loved me, worked hard, wanted the best for me. And I think, in reflecting on where I am now, that the fact that I had a good upbringing set me up in a certain way for certain things. So school, I was decent academic. I think I'm a good C, B student. And I think, considering where I'm from, though, being a South Yorkshire mining village, like, people doing well academically was really, really fucking rare. So, like, from an early age, because I got it a little bit, there was always a push from those inside school and my mum and dad to, like, try and do things academically. So, college, doing A-levels and all that kind of stuff. And it was kind of like, at the time I was thinking, right, maybe army, armed forces, something like that. And then this massive amount of pressure, university. And I really didn't want to do it, literally. My hopes and dreams and aspirations from being a kid, we've all got that little kid inside, was just shoot guns and do cool stuff, right? And I guess in hindsight, towards the end of my life, it's definitely a regret of mine, having listened to people, mum and dad, school, because they, school had their targets to hit how many people who were getting to university, and I was somebody who was capable, so it was like the pressure to do that was crazy. And same as my mum and dad, like, I've got a brother and he was in the infantry, and we had a tough time with that and stuff. So my mum and dad were kind of like, no, you need to go and get a proper job and stuff like that. So I felt like an incredible amount of pressure through like my teenage years to kind of satisfy that demand. So I ended up going to university.
They wanted the best for you, though, didn't they? Kind of like,
no, for sure, for sure. I've ended up at university, and kind of like through that period, started to get into jiu-jitsu, and I think...
What were you doing at uni?
Engineering. My dad's an engineer, so just like doing 3D design, structural engineering kind of stuff. And interestingly, I do nothing to do with that today. And I suppose that's testament to like my mindset. It was kind of like, all right, I'll go to university. What shall I do? I'll just do what my dad does. Yeah. You know what I mean? It wasn't anything like an intent or passion from me. And I think that's probably why the first year I basically fucked off. I didn't go to lectures, and I think my attendance was really, really low.
Just had a good time.
Yeah. Well, the first 3 months I got so pissed that I had like a dull ache in my liver. And then I kind of like found the opportunity to just train jiu-jitsu full time. Right. So doing like between MMA and jiu-jitsu.
Were you already doing jiu-jitsu before then?
I can't remember the exact time. I think I'd been to a Hoist Gracie seminar either right before, maybe a month or two before I moved to university, or like I'd done a couple of months like back home, moved to
Any other sports before that? Were you quite
bit of rugby, bit of football, and that's the interesting thing, like, to be honest, objectively, I was shit at both. You know what I mean?
I thought I saw you pass the rugby ball before. I thought you must have had a rugby background.
Yeah, I've played rugby, and like genuinely, I was pretty poor. I think the only reason I got on the team is that if you could get a ball in my hands, I was really, really fast, and I could change directions fast. But the likelihood of me fumbling it and dropping it and knock on is...
There's always players like that on a team.
Yeah, then everyone's like, fuck's sake,
around the
Lloyd.
school, but
Yeah, Lloyd's dropped it again. So, but if I could get it in my hands, I could do some magic running. So, and like I said, I didn't ever feel like I was very good at anything, gone to university. And I think talking like direction and stuff in life, I don't think I'd ever had any real difficulty. Lovely upbringing, mum and dad giving me everything I ever wanted, do you know what I mean? All right, encouraged me to do something maybe I didn't actually want to do in hindsight, but then going to university and it was like the big wide world of shit, you've got to like be self-sufficient, you're doing a very technical, challenging course, and then I'm doing a martial art as well, and it was like, bit of a realisation, that was my growing up period, 21, you know, it was quite late, objectively for some other bloke, do you know what I mean? Like you look at talking around force, you guys are 17, 18 years old and you're in the real world. So for me, it was kind of that first year of failing a couple of exams in my university, sparring with people in MMA and getting the shit kicked out of me. I was like, whoa, you know what I mean? So that was a big eye-opener for me, that actually start to develop a level of personal responsibility.
Did you go straight into MMA then? Just like...
Yeah, it was, I think, at first, and I think... Yeah, reflecting on the time, it probably was like 9 months before I moved to university. So I started training a bit. It was MMA. I suppose the funny story always is my first ever class, a 14-year-old choked me unconscious.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's why I'm here
humbler.
17 years later, because that little prick of a 14-year-old choked me unconscious. But
and you were obviously a grown man then?
Yeah, I was 21 at the time, and it blew my mind. I was like, I can't believe somebody's capable of doing this, because I was like real fit and strong, trained a lot. I was working a night shift. And I literally just worked nights before I went to unit and train weights. I was like, I'm a fucking savage. You know what I mean? I thought that's what it took to be tough. And then that was the first thing I was like, wow, that, you know, with an element of skill, despite this kid being tiny.
Do you still know that lad? Or he's not?
No. Weirdly, I can't even picture his face. Probably because I was unconscious.
Joked out.
But like, yeah, I can't remember. I just remember the feeling of being in a triangle and then being on the floor like, whoa. So then, yeah, like I started to do MMA first, had an MMA fight back home. That's how I got that. It was in a boxing ring as well. So I won the first fight, but then I did like a body lock takedown, twisted him over, and my head fell through the boxing ropes. Now they're obviously big, heavy, thick ropes, and they coat me like a rubber. Well, that nearly like ruptured that thing. So like I smashed it to bits. I had it drained twice. It kept filling up. Went to the hospital and they operated on it twice in a week. Like literally sliced it and squeezed it. And then the second time they stitched a plastic cover to it and tried to stitch it flat. That didn't work because it didn't stop the bleeding. So it collapsed my ear canal. And this is like within 6-9 months of starting training. And I was like, fuck.
Makes you look more legit though, right?
Yeah. Nobody fucks with people with ears, right? But yeah, like a couple of months in, I was like, oh, this is ridiculous. I'm just going to stop this sport. You know what I mean? And I had to go under a general anaesthetic, and they cauterized the blood vessel inside my ear. So 3 ops within 1 week.
Can you hear it to that?
Yeah, I can. Yeah. So like they repaired the ear canal.
Can you hear it out of that ear?
Yeah, no.
Well, you
Hear it out of that ear.
Hear it out of that ear.
Yeah.
But
I won't say that word again.
but yeah, it was honestly that I remember at the time I was so close to just fucking it off and doing something else. I'm glad I didn't, you know what I mean? And so I'd started MMA, went to university, had another MMA fight under Next Gen in Liverpool. So I was going from Manchester to Liverpool to train. Obviously they've got Paddy the Baddie. Paddy was a 16-year-old when I first started training, and he was just as gobby and stuff there. He's a real good lad. He was amazing at 16. And then after
you were mainly like striking and that, then you weren't really into the groundwork stuff? Or was
no, definitely. I was definitely, even in the early days, in that first year or two, weirdly, my natural propensity to want to grapple. Like I'd use strikes to get into wrestling. So I was wrestling in 2009, you know what I mean? Right. Despite most of my competitive stuff being guard pulling, and everyone thinks I'm a guard puller, like I've been wrestling for a lot of years. So like my mentality in an MMA fight would be, can I take you down? And like my last MMA fight I had, literally like, he was a Muay Thai guy, strike, keep my hands up, double-legged on him, put him on his arse, arm behind the head, like seriously like this, and I just punched his face until his eyes disappeared, which was interesting. But the funny thing is, he was a bit of a bad lad from Mossad in Manchester, so from what I heard, people in the lead up to fight, he's a gangster. So anyway, in the change rooms, I went up to shake his hand. I was like, oh, thanks for the fight. You're like, fuck off, yeah. So
Not after the fight.
and I just went, I've just fucking punched your head in, mate. Shut up. You know what I mean? So, and then like a year went by after that MMA fight. I was like, fucking hell, I've not even trained MMA. I've just been doing jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? And then I guess rest is history of just years and years. And I think the operative thing for me is despite challenges and ups and downs, you know, jiu-jitsu's just been that constant thing. I've never got off the bike. You know what I mean? No matter what, just kept training. Somebody asked me the other night, like, how long have you been training? And I was like, 17 and a half years. And the scary thing for me is like, I've always thought myself, I'm the young guy and the up and coming guy. And actually now 17 and a half years in.
Now you're the old guy, like.
Yeah, blink of an eye.
Still getting better, do you think? You still learning?
Definitely, yeah. Like mentally now, like that's the frustrating thing for me. You know, I'm 38, 17 years in, my body's definitely giving up. Mentally, I'm like when I'm rolling, I'm sharp as ever. I'm seeing new transitions. I'm seeing ways I can execute stuff. I just can't articulate it as well as I could do with my body. That's the frustrating thing, right?
Because you could easily say about yourself, mate. What I know of you, you're like still like live a life or a professional athlete, kind of in a sport that's not really professional in some ways. When did you what point of like white belt, blue belt, purple belt, you thought, I'm pretty good at this, like, and go, I could really do something.
I suppose that's an interesting like mental platitude I went through. Is that gaining an element of self-belief? For years, or limiting beliefs that I was like, everyone else is better. I could never win the British Open because these people are just amazing. And I think it comes down to that resilience bit and putting yourself in more and more difficult situations. And I think white and blue belt, I actively avoided competing as much as I could have and should have done because I was like worried about getting my arse kicked like it was a bad thing, you know what I mean? And it's only when I got to purple belt, I was kind of like, fuck it, let's just, go for it, compete a lot. And at one point I was competing like, back then, when was I purple belt? Like 2011? Competing once or twice a month was pretty much everything going, you know what I mean? So, and when I was purple belt, I competed so much. And then it was only like after a couple of those comps, I was like, fuck, these guys I thought were really good, I've just smashed them to bits, you know what I mean? And it took a long time for me to develop that element of like self-belief that I could do some damage. And I've never had like somebody, maybe like giving you that mental confidence yourself. I've just had to kind of explore it myself. And it's like only over the course of the years that I've realized I've held myself back because I didn't truly believe. And then, from when I got to brown belt, then that mentality changed, that like I did a lot of like mental performance work about how I assume I've already won. I just need to work back from that point. I mean, no matter who the person is like, I'm always picturing myself out, I'm the victor of this next match. I've just got to like figure out the steps to get there, if you know what I mean. Whereas before that, it was always, well, I'm here, how do I win? And I think making that change to already visualizing and bringing color and context to that victory picture in your brain is somewhat easier, and just going, well, I just need to get him in a submission. To get him in a submission, I need to get to the position I'm good at. And then, okay, so how do I get to that position from starting? And then it seems relatively easy, as opposed to tapped hands, start of the match. I'm like, fucking hell.
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously visualization is quite big in a lot of different sporting contexts, and it's used, obviously athletes are doing it on the start line and a sprint and everything. Are you going literally through like, right, if he does this, I'm going to be doing that and picturing that, that movement, or is it as much as you're going ahead, like you picture yourself, your arms held aloft, you've won that. Where do you go with that? Just quite interested in the mindset stuff. Yeah,
that's a really, really good question, actually. I guess the answer in short terms is both, right. But I tend to time it different. So like perpetually in the lead up to a match, I'm always visualizing that victory picture in my brain, whatever that looks like. And I always tell my students is like, rather than just picturing it, bring it to life. What does your body feel like when you're, that ecstasy, that celebration, where do you see yourself? Is it first person? Is it third person? What's the crowd sounding like? Build a picture of what the stage looks like, bring as much context into that as possible. Now, typically, like when it comes to the tactical bit in terms of like what he's going to do, what I'm going to do, like I do a lot of work actually from the negative, like, oh, he's scored me on here. How do I work myself back and have that proactivity? Or like he's got me in a submission, how am I escaping that? So I work some of the negative first, and then when it comes to like the last hours before, it is all my game. Just like, what's my A1 route to victory? Where can I be successful? And all of my mental energy is just about how do I get myself into that position where I know I'm going to be able to be successful.
Where does that process start? How like long before a match or? Yeah,
this is an interesting thing. Like most people go to competitions, right, and they spend all day like watching the matches, and like Rick, my sponsor from Strom, the first Grapple Max event he did a year ago, he's like, "Oh, I heard you didn't watch any of the matches," like. And I was like, it's no disrespect. This is just my process, guys. You know what I mean? Like, I can imagine those fucking amazing matches, but I'm not going to waste a single piece of my mental energy on watching something else. So, like, I will stay out the way. The only thing I'll go and watch or coach is my own guys. You know what I mean? So I'll stay the fuck out the way, just so I'm not burning up like adrenaline for hours before and stuff like that. And then usually 90 minutes out, if obviously timelines move, but 90 minutes I'll bust myself up, just PT, get my heart rate spiked, and then 20 minutes out, as long as I've got a healthy sweat, then it's just right, focusing inwards, and it's just that last 20 minutes is all about mental prep. You know what I mean? Thinking about how I'm going to, visualizing those finishing moves, the sweeps, the major transitions. Yeah, so when I'm walking out, literally the last 20 minutes is just all about freshness of executing those moves.
Yeah, when you're walking out, that's just going on the physiological stuff, but you're already blowing then. Then like you like when you're saying build up a sweat, I only comparing it to, I know from rugby in the sevens game, they're literally going on the pitch. They've been doing sprints before again, so you're not caught out on that first sprint.
It's challenging.
Yeah,
if I could, with the rugby analogy, I would.
Yeah.
The issue with obviously a lot of jiu-jitsu, like the type, obviously I do submission only. Usually it's like, right, Lloyd, we're ready, but then you sit in a stairwell for 25 minutes. Yeah. So, and the challenge is, like, I think if you leave or if you warm up, you have your good warm up too far away from that point, some people go out cold, you know what I mean? And you have to build yourself into the match. So I try to get pretty close to that. And then I'll wrap up. So I'm still carrying quite a healthy sweat. Now it is a bit of a challenge to try and maintain a sweat. For me, the rule of thumb, Donkey, is like, have I still got a healthy sweat going onto the mat? And, and so sometimes I might need to like ramp my heart rate again, depending off if they're talking. Like, it was funny on the Grapple Max a year ago. I was fighting Ricky Bellingham. Obviously, he's Army elite athlete guy, but he came with Mark Ormrod.
Yeah.
And it was completely unannounced. So I'd like done all my time right. I need to, warm up till this time, 20 minutes, just holding my sweat, doing mental performance. But then Mark Ormrod did like a 20-minute speech. So it completely like blew the fucking timeline. So then I'm like, shit, right, okay, get out of my brain, just start, and I'm warming up again in like this corridor sort of thing. So, and I think it's important that I suppose you have got flexibility in your mental plans, right? I think a lot of people fail a result of that. Well, I've only got this one rigid set of circumstances to win, and then if it's outside that, then I fail. But yeah, I do like to definitely break a first wind. Loads of jiu-jitsu guys are like lazy or thick, that they're like, no, I don't bother warming up. I'm like,
step on.
Yeah, like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. Like, the problem, that's the thing I think I've been able to do all right in jiu-jitsu, despite having a day job, despite having a family, is just because I try to treat these things professionally, doing a proper warm-up, doing a mental game, making sure I've eaten right. They are edges, you know what I mean? And loads of guys do shitloads of jiu-jitsu, become really good at that. They've not eaten properly, they've not done a mental game, they've not warmed up.
I suppose you must struggle with, obviously you've got loads of high-level guys in your place, but because obviously your technical skill is so high, your like aerobic, anaerobic performance is not going to be tested training unless you're training with top guys. So you're kind of like, you're sitting at a different level all the time.
Very perceptive. So this is I think, right, this is something that catches out most jiu-jitsu guys, and I talk about this a lot in the gym, right? The amount of really good level guys I see lose a match and like, oh, I didn't have any concerns over my cardio in the lead up to the match, but then I was gassed in the match because of the fucking best guy in the gym, because they're coasting. Yeah. You have absolutely nailed a major factor for brown and black belts fucking up competing, because they think, well, I can roll for 2 hours fine. Yeah, because you're rolling with blue belts and purple belts. No disrespect to those guys, but you've not, you think that you're working hard, and obviously you've got to sweat, it's cool, but you're always in green. Whereas again, like when prep for the last match, like 12 weeks out, twice a week, I'm either on the rower or on the air bike. Do I want to go on those pieces of equipment when I've had 4 hours sleep because my baby was awake all night? Do I fuck?
Do you do that in the gym? Actually, have them on a bike and then straight into the mat? Do you ever do that in your training?
No,
blow them out before they get on there.
No, I guess no, because of a space reason. But like when I've trying to prep people for comp rounds, I do try to do some heart rate stuff. So I'll be like, right, let's do some real fast drilling or like takedown stuff, get people's heart rate spiked.
Different ways, and
then throw them into like say a shark tank. Because people need to know how to react, when there are those like hyperventilating situations. And that's, I think, is some, and I want to talk about professionalism or being absent in jiu-jitsu. Loads of guys miss that. They think I'm just going to have a steady roll for 2 hours and I'm fit and I'm good to go. And they're not, because they're not redlining themselves. You've got the mental stress of being under the lights. You're worried about everybody watching you. Oh shit, I've got to post something on Instagram.
Raise up anyway if you're in a competition straight away. Like,
you're already in that
heightened anxiety and
and then you just start working on this guy's pushing you. You're redlining. If you've not been there multiple times in the training camp, you fucked it. So that is honestly, like, the amount of guys that miss that is huge within jiu-jitsu. So simple advice is just make sure you're doing some kind of anaerobic training on a rowing machine or an air bike, because if you're not used to being there, you're gonna bin it in the comp match.
Do you think that's been the difference of you perhaps other guys you compete to do at a high level, that you've just trained smarter?
I think so. Yeah, like this is what. No disrespect to anybody, but this is why I've been able to like consistently beat professionals, and I'm using the word professional lightly, but people who are training full time, despite 50 hours a week I'm at my desk and looking after my kids and stuff like that. I think just because I've got those couple of sharp edges, I mean, they might be professional, but I know if I can drag you into deep waters and your heart rate and you're gassed out, I'm going to be able to take your soul that second half of the match.
You fighting the same weight all the time usually?
Pretty much.
What you walk around at? So
last few years, I've gone up. Like most of my comp crew is at 80.
Do you have to? Yeah, is that hard for you to get back down to that for fights or not?
No, I don't. No. I would struggle nowadays. Like I think, to be fair, I haven't said that. A couple of weeks ago, I weighed in at 83. I'm like
so most you're thereabouts, and
most I've been in the last few years is like 89.
How much did you drop for your? That one you had to compete in?
You were fucking like 10 kilos. I need to do 10 kilos by next weekend.
Like a fast drop.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously.
I just seen the size. Everybody else looked like Bingsies. I thought I needed to drop some weight.
It's a big fucker, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
The monster. Mate, just slightly rewind. What was your big comp win? Like where you your first big one? Polaris, I take it was a European?
No, I'll tell you what it was. It was before that. There was a comp called Densetsu. It was money comp, so I won $2,000. And what it was no time limit, submission only. So this comp, and talking about like...
Dragging out.
Yeah, but talking about like readiness. We started at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I was warm or kept warm from 10 a.m. and it finished at 10 o'clock at night. Oh. It was like, I'm just fucking skipping in between matches. And the thing is, because some of the matches were going on for like an hour and 20 minutes. And I was lucky, all my matches were like 6 or 7 minutes because I finished people. But yeah, that was the first one where submitting all 3 guys with leg locks. I was like, fuck. And I've put away some like people I hold in very high esteem. So that was a major game changer for me.
What belt was that?
I think it was a brown belt then. Right. So that was in the same year as Europeans. And like the Europeans one, I think, was truly what pushed me on into these like Polaris stuff. Was went to Europeans. I broke my ribs. So I could separate 3 ribs up here 6 weeks before. I didn't train a single day. Oh man, yeah, I was rolling.
Can't do anything.
Well, you broke 3 ribs.
Yeah, so I was rolling with a black belt in Birmingham on a business trip, and like I was going for his back, and he was a like 100 kilo dude, and with great respect, he's in front of his students. You don't want to fucking lose, so he just fucking dropped hard, and it like the way my legs were, and it just like crunched. I heard like a fucking huge thing here, so like I got them pushed back into position, taped them up. Didn't train for 6 weeks. Literally, the only thing I could just about muster was like very gentle elliptical. So barely broke a sweat for 6 weeks. In loads of pain. Started to warm up. I was like, I feel absolutely terrible. And then the actual day of Euros, despite me feeling all that crap, submitted 5 guys in a row and won the Europeans. And I was like, fucking hell! Like, I've had the performance of a lifetime. with the worst prep of a lifetime, still pulled it out of the hat.
Did you feel the injury when you were fighting?
No, complete no. Yeah. And that's why people talk about like getting in the zone and stuff like that. That's when I realised the power of mental performance. Right, I think I had in my brain, I was like, look, there's now no expectation on you to win because of shit circumstances. It's actually removing all of that
pressure off.
Yeah. And it was just all business for me. It was like, where can I be successful? And then it was in the gi. I was like, spider guard, lifting up, get to the legs. And I did that in three matches. The semi-final was a Brazilian kid, which is cool because he had quite a famous Brazilian black belt like coaching him and talking about taking people's soul. Maybe I'd carried a good level of fitness in, but I remember passing his guard late, driving my fucking knee into his belly, and I got a choke, and I could feel him. He was like, he didn't want it, he couldn't quit. So I pretended to like choke him, and he tapped before even the choke was on. He just didn't want to be there. And then in the final, pulled out a knee bar from a very similar position. But for me, it was like I knew the context where I could be successful in 4 out of the 5 matches. Just got to that one position and nailed it. And I genuinely didn't feel my ribs once. Crazy. But those 2 major comps, winning the 2 grand, no gi, sub only, no time limit, and winning the Europeans was like, holy fucking shit. Like I'm
good to have that confidence, I suppose, that if you get in a certain position, you've got a particular move that you're going to execute, and that's going to work every time. I assume that's the sort of level you're at now.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing I try to coach all my students. Like a lot of people go into a comp and they're like, well, I'll just see what happens. I'm like, no, you need to be very clear. Where are the moves where no matter what, you can execute on 9.5 out of 10 people, you know what I mean? Like if you can't answer me what your best sweep is, you can't answer me what your best pass is, go away and work on those things and make them unbeatable, you know what I mean? And I know if I can get to my right hip with my left butterfly hook in, you ain't going to pass my guard. Number 1, it's a great level of confidence I've got. Number 2, I'm likely to get onto your legs. So for me, it's a simple mental equation, you know what I mean? But so many guys just go in and be like, well, just see what happens.
Go-to move, mate. You go on.
Finger in the bum arm.
Yeah, finger in the bum, hand over the face, all the dirty stuff.
All the stuff Binksy showed me. Mate, how did the sort of leg locking game become like you are the man in that space, and I presume as well. Pardon me for my ignorance here. You've developed that beyond anybody, in that sort of space. It's like there's nobody taking it to the level you have, I presume.
There's a lot of other people, for sure, you know what I mean? I think probably the way I'd describe that is a lot of good people maybe get to the same end point with a couple of different methodologies, you know what I mean? But I'm really fortunate, I suppose answering the second question first, I'm really fortunate that I've been so in demand from a seminar perspective. I did 170 seminars in about 2.5 years. It's a fucking lot. And I've learned so much more about leg locks just because people asking different questions and stuff. Like I've been to seminars and they will not do any questions. Here's what I'm showing and that's it. Whereas I'm quite the inverse. I'm like, try and trip me up, ask a difficult question. Why can't I do this? Because then it makes me think, right, well, mechanically, why am I doing that? And I try to deconstruct it as much. And that has led to so much development of technique and, things that I would call maybe my own. I'm sure other people can get to the same position. So I'm never going to say that's the Lloyd Cooper part of leg locks, but I think, I have cultivated a lot of techniques through my own learning rather than going, I've watched, I don't know, Imanari or somebody and teach that. And especially the last 8 years, I haven't really watched a instructional, don't really watch comp matches. So definitely developed a lot of things in my own brain and how and why they're effective. And that, I think if you can critique technique in that way, unless, whether it's your own technique, whether it's somebody else, you can actually just bin off a load of bullshit, you know what I mean? Because that's the problem with the Instagram generation is everyone can see a fucking 360 spin Instagram, leg lock bullshit, and it's actually what actually is applicable. But how I got there, I had a couple of matches at Purple Belt, and I sort of competing a lot, and it was cool. One of them's a funny story. Well, I suppose 2 of them are funny stories. So I was doing a Nottingham Open, and again, my game on bottom, playing it X guard. Naturally the legs are there, but I got this this kid. I think he was Jordanian or something. He was over, got him a straight foot lock, and I put it on, And he looked at my face and he was like shaking his head at me. I was like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? I was like, so I was like, okay, put it on, and I had like the most almighty crunch and like snapped his ankle. I was like, that's the first time I've ever broken somebody. He's like, fucking hell. He was like, and
then you got a real thirst for it.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, I love this stuff.
got a wood on, mate. But no, and then they brought the wheelchair in. I was like, fucking hell, that's pretty intense. But then he had a teammate who just won the other semi-final, and he was like, and he was Polish. He was fucking like mean mugging me. I was like, oh shit, he's up for this. And the hilarious thing, I got him in exactly the same position and did exactly the same thing, popped his ankle and got him in a wheelchair as well. So I was like, see you later, lads. So there was that. But then inversely, I had a match with a black belt called Lee. He's black belt now. At the time, he was purple belt. But I remember I was winning on points, and I was like, yeah, I'm fucking doing this guy. Like, I just couldn't quite put him away. About a minute to go, he got me in a footlock. And at the time, I didn't have any defence. So I was like, well, I'm up 10-0 on points. Fuck it. 1 minute to go. Won't tap. And he had this real thick Geordie accent. And I will never forget this moment as long as I can live. But he was like, mate, your fucking foot's making some queer sounds, man. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. And fucking tapped out. So I got tapped out and my foot was like a golf ball. So those two things that drove me thinking, actually, a lot of people don't know much about leg locks. And that was, like, say...
There's something disgusting about them, though. And I don't roll, but I obviously see it a lot with the guys. And they're the ones I'm like, when I've seen like Binksy up there yourself, I'm like, hey, it looks disgusting. Like the pain that was putting someone in.
I think you've made a good point there. The one thing, I've not had my guard passed very much in jiu-jitsu, and I think not because I've got an amazing world-class guard. I think because of there's a bit of woo around leg locks, and I think what it is, like, people happen to get armbarred, but if they consider that you're going to fuck with their ability to walk,
it's different.
Yeah,
that's a bit of a scary factor. So people don't commit. People don't try and smash into your guard so much. You know what I mean? So I think that's benefited me, just having that bit of a...
Like the aura.
Yeah, like, Lloyd's going to try and pull your legs off.
Yeah. And I suppose also there's, you think what must be a weakness of a lot of clubs is stand up, one because of room and because of lads getting injured. And then sort of leg lock stuff, a bit like a vicious cycle where unless you got like a place like yours where it's like real sort of specialists and you getting better and better and better and better, it's like a vicious cycle in perhaps other places where people are doing less and then it becomes like some people are not getting as good, and then it's so when it's kind of counterproductive. Yeah, and you I still remember when
you came to
like, his ankles fused, didn't it?
The ankle was like, obviously you didn't know at the time, it was obviously screws in, pretty much fused, and I don't know whether you.
That's when I realised I had black magic. Yeah. I literally touched his ankle with one hand, not two, and all it was boom. I looked, I was like, what the fuck? And he was like, yes, fuck that.
I presume you must have thought, oh, he's
got to be giving this one.
This is no he's resisting this with his foot, and I was like, no, my foot just doesn't move.
Yeah,
he made it move though. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Oh mate, the panic in me. I was like, oh my god, this has been perfect for 20 years. But,
it shocked me. I was I was more shocked the fact that I'd not even gripped my hands up. Normally I've got to grip my hands up to start applying it, and I just caught it like that, and I heard a fucking bang, and I was like, oh my god, I've just crippled him.
But going back to what we were just saying before that, like the scary thing, I probably didn't articulate it very well then, but the scary thing is unless you're going against high level guys, who can protect you. Like when you're going with somebody who's say 50% proficient, people are like scared their knee or ankle. No, it's.
Well, shouldn't they tap earlier when it's a leg because they're worried or not? That's just assumption, I suppose.
You'd say that, yeah, and I guess some of it. I suppose to the first point, I've been most injured by like white and blue belts, like fucking launching into something, or they've injured themselves by launching out of something. But like when it gets to like the higher levels, I'd say there's not like a sliding scale. It's either they tap early because they respect it, or I guess from my perspective, I know how far I can push it. As daft as it sounds in comp nowadays, like I know that my ankle's likely to pop 1 or 2 times before my knee ligaments go. So if I'm getting heel hooked, I'll take a pop or two before I think, I'm willing to take an injury down here before I know. So, but yeah, you get a bit of a chasm. And even like, there's a story I tell. I always say to my guys, when I'm battering, I'm like, being fucking tough is not a leg lock defense. Don't give me this bullshit, because toughness is going to cause you a lifelong of injury, right? And I went to a seminar years and years ago, and they're like, oh, this guy, he's doesn't tap to leg is you can't tap him.
Oh.
I'm the most competitive person on earth. I'm like, don't fucking tell me that. I'm like,
let's
ding,
see.
ding, round one. But then, and then he was like, yeah, I want to roll with you, Lloyd. And he was like, coming across a bit competitive. And bearing in mind, like, at a seminar, it's a bit of, you're going to get my back up real fucking quick. Like, I'm just there to, teach you some stuff, have some nice, respectful rounds. And then people trying to take your head off, you're going to get a rise at me straight away. So everyone else is respectful. This kid literally fucking throwing himself at me. So I end up in a leg lock, get it on, and I look at him and he's going like, shaking his head at me. And I'm like, really? So I start to apply it and I'm like, nice and steady. Looks at it and he shook his head. So I was like, fucking okay, brother. Put my hips into it and then boom. And then his knee went. I'm like, no mercy, mate. Fuck you.
Well, that might sound a bit dodgy, but you did give him mercy. You give him the choice.
Two opportunities, man. And I tell you what, that's an interesting point. Like people have asked me over the years, like because
you could easily
respect for the game, though.
That's
right?
why I jumped in there because you could easily somebody just watched that. I caught a bit of that. They go, this bloke's a savage, but you're not.
No.
Like you're giving somebody. That's his fault. That's his fault. He injured himself then.
Yeah, and precisely that, and that's back to that point.
It normally is, right? At the top level, it's because someone's not tapping.
Yeah, you know what? And I've got two like philosophies. If it's in the gym, like I'm going to give you numerous times to get out or something. And you know what? All right, maybe in that instance, if that was a normal training round, I probably would have just let it go and do something different. But the fact that he'd been quite combative and aggressive to me, that's probably why I continue to apply. And he put himself there. But people have asked me a lot over the years, like, how do you feel about when you have like hurt people in competitions? Like, unfortunately, I've had like people total knee dislocations and all kinds of things. And I don't feel morally bad for it, right? After the fact, yeah, of course, it's terrible when somebody's injured. But fundamentally, when we sign up to compete with one another, we're in there for a reason. We both have a job to do, right? And I'm going to professionally and ruthlessly execute that job until such point you tap out and say no, or you beat me, right? And so, yeah, the times, I'm not trying to do things maliciously, no, but I'm trying to effectively apply techniques and, get you out of there. And you're a big boy, you invariably a highly experienced black belt. And if you choose not to tap, that's fine, but I will continue to apply, which could result in you becoming injured. So,
well, it's a two-way thing as well. That person would equally do the same thing to you.
Yeah, exactly. It's cliche to say kill or be killed, isn't it? Right. So, but yeah, like I don't feel bad in the moment. It's only after when I've calmed down a bit. I'm like, fucking hell, mate. Yeah.
What about losses, mate? Everyone, people are like, how we responded to them?
I'm not good. No. I'll tell you the worst one, right? This is probably when my second match on Polaris, right, was in 2018, and talking to mental performance, I completely fucked up the whole mental game, right? So I was going to have my first child about 3 to 4 weeks after the Polaris match, and all the way in the lead up, I built this picture, I'll win on Polaris, then I'll retire from professional jiu-jitsu, and I can disappear off into the sunset. So I got this mantra in my head was, gotta win. And I put so much pressure in, like, we spoke about earlier, I don't tend to feel too much pressure. Going into that match in 2018 on Polaris, I was like, fucking hell, I've got to win. I felt so much desperation for it. And I remember being in the match and I was a passenger. Literally, I couldn't decision make things. Things were happening to me and he submitted me with a leg lock. So that's like my most devastating loss. So like that one, it's funny, Olivia used to like, for a month afterwards, I was just like walking around the garden, like fucking depressed. And she's like, you need to pull yourself together now. It's embarrassing.
It's bad, but you never forget, do you?
Yeah. But I think the worst thing for me, rather than the loss, I think was the fact that I'd not prepared properly. So now, like, it depends. Like more recent losses, the times when I have lost, if I've done everything I can, I know I've executed to the best of my ability and I've just been beaten by a better person, totally all right with that. You know what I mean? And I'm usually just trying to calibrate what the fuck could I have done different. Yeah, but when I've mentally choked or messed up.
Oh, yeah, it stays with you. I don't think I mentioned yesterday, I was talking rugby stuff and I was like, it still bothers me. It pops in my head sometimes. A tackle I missed in a school game just because I just didn't really want to play this game because I had a harder game coming up on the Saturday, like a club game. And I remember half-assed going at this tackle and it still bothers me now. I still see it. I literally had dreams about it. That's like going back 30 odd years ago.
But that's testament to who you are and your mindset, though, right? Isn't it? The fact
crazy,
that,
isn't it?
I don't know, maybe there's a correlation with people who have that level of like mental expectation of themselves and doing well in life. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, because if you are going to get frustrated and pissed off about a certain loss, whereas, you know, other end of the spectrum, there's people like, oh, fuck it, if I lose, I lose, and I'm not really bothered. And I could not be that, you know what I mean? Like,
I'll take that something you breed in your gym now, like well, that's not, you would call it a gym, do you? But you're like the grip jits, that's the mindset you put into everyone that comes there.
For me, what I want everybody who comes through the doors at Gripper to be is just, I want you to be doing everything to be the best that you can be. You know, don't get me wrong, everyone's got a sliding scale of competitiveness, but as long as you're doing everything professionally and as to the best of your ability, that's all I ask of you. And I suppose how I unpack that, you know, my oldest student's Gav, I think he's 67, is one of my black belts, Cal's dad. You know what I mean? Is he going to come in and smash the fuck out of everybody? You know, I don't have that same level of expectation, but you know what? Gav will roll with everybody. He trains every day of the week. You know what? And that to me is a 10 out of 10 performance. The fact
Cal's dad.
Yeah, good answer.
Is a 10 out of 10 performance. But whereas, you know, if I've got a 21-year-old who works a nice and steady job, lives with mum and dad, don't have to pay a bill, you know, all that, and he's half-arsing it, he's sitting rounds out, you know, my mentality towards that's going to be much more different. Like, if I think you've got something to give, I'm going to do what I can to extract that from you. I'm like, you know, no bullshit. You need to fucking pull your pants up and let's start working hard.
Good point was to step back into how you got into coaching and having your own place. How did that come about?
I think just organically. I think first off is the missus Livy. So I was at uni, met Livy through jiu-jitsu, and it was kind of like I moved back to Rotherham after uni, got a couple of shitty jobs in Sheffield, and it was kind of like, what's going on? We haven't started a relationship, and it was kind of like, move to school. It was just a case of like, I was the best guy. And, you know, looking at when we started, so Neil, who owns the gym, we had like 6 of us. That was it in the back room. That was it, just fucking about. And that kind of developed in with training more regular because I needed to, you know, get more rounds and still be like competitive. We travelled a lot. Then after a period of time, we're travelling to these other gyms, and I'm actually like, fucking hell, the guys we're driving to these other gyms with, the best guys. So it's like, well, we just might as well stay back in Goole and cultivate that more. And then I guess I moved, how long have I lived in Goole now? Probably 11 years, so what, 2015. Really started to be like 2017, that was like, right, let's just start to teach classes. And it was only 2019 that I incorporated Gripper, you know, as an organisation. So it just fell into it organically. You know, as daft as it sounds, I made a decision really early on. Full-time jiu-jitsu athlete, coach, gym owner was not what I wanted to do, you know what I mean? I have always wanted to maintain my corporate career, wanted to do really, really well in that aspect of my life. And, you know, have family, have kids and stuff. I didn't want to sacrifice any of that other stuff just to become a jiu-jitsu bum. Very, very passionate about that. Whereas a lot of other people were making that decision.
You must be pretty proud, mate, of the what the club's become, the name, the sort of, you know, the vibe in it, the brotherhood is a proper, you know, it is a different feel, I think, to the other ones I've sort of visited. Like, you know, you can see the closeness with lads, like, you know. Like,
thank you. That interesting time wise, I guess, like, that is probably my biggest motivation to keep going in jiu-jitsu. You know, for me, most of my years, all I was ever really bothered about was being as good as I can get, right? And kind of coaching in the gym was just a byproduct, and I never really put much business acumen focus onto it and stuff like that. And since I've like retired from professional in 2021 and I'm having a 1 or 2 matches a year to keep myself in the lad shop, actually my motivation is making that environment as productive a place as possible. And I actually get a lot of buzz from that now, you know what I mean? You're like, it's a bit fucking emotional, man, you know what I mean? Like, I have guys message me and they're like, mate, you know, I've had a hard mental time, and you leading me and being a fucking coach and being a brother to me is like stopped me from killing myself. Like, I've had those messages, man.
Yes.
yeah, that's what.
And fucking hell, like, you know, I'm emotional now feeling about it. But the fact that blokes need these sorts of places, you know what I mean? And the fact that I've been able to create that is really, really like fills me up with a lot of pride. And that's kind of like why I keep doing it.
Yeah, awesome.
You know, or like I've got one of the guys, I'm not going to say his name on a podcast, but this year his ex-missus stopped him seeing his kids. And like, you know, I've been like, come to the gym, keep training. And it's literally kept him on the straight and now. And he's, you know, and he competed recently and won a match. And he was like, fucking thank you so much. You know what I mean? And we have loads of banter back and forth, but that real moment is like, I don't think I'd have, been able to keep my shit together in the context of...
People need that family, right?
Fucking right, yeah. And it is very much a brotherhood, I think you've made a really interesting point about my motivations overall. Like, I've obviously been around jiu-jitsu a long time, and I think, like, I've been in a lot of gyms that are just very clinical. You know what I mean? It's like you do jiu-jitsu and you go home, there is no atmosphere, no banter, and it's very much like, I'm here to teach you techniques and disappear. Like, and I've been very passionate about that not being my role with respect to, like, their interactions with students. I really view my role rather than just as a jiu-jitsu coach. I'm trying to help you improve every aspect of your life, whether it's the team, the friendships, go and smash your career, relationship with your missus, your overall health and stuff. And maybe that's where there's a bit of crossover with some of like the military stuff, and that, like I look at, I've had experienced military units and stuff, and just having like that ethos that binds people together to have that common mission and stuff. And I think that they're all things that I try to like bring into the gym culture. So we're all moving in the same direction. And I think as a bloke, I always say men need missions, right? If you don't feel like you're on a journey towards something, I think that's when negative mental health comes out, right? So if the least I can do is put all my students in a room and like, look guys, we're all on this mission of making ourselves, sharp, happy and strong and good at jiu-jitsu as we can, with these sort of tenets and values. I think if I'm doing that, then, I'm ticking off a big life goal. And so, it makes me really, really happy when people say nice things about the gym like you've just done. So thanks, man.
It's the reason why everyone probably wants to wear the t-shirt, mate. Obviously, some gyms you have to buy, you're enforced to buy, but obviously in your place,
nothing's forced, mate.
But everyone wants to wear it for that reason, doesn't it? To be part of the club and the culture that you created. But to get on to one thing, mate, your obviously I'm seeing it been a bit quiet recently, but some of your social media content, mate, has been like off the chart. Like,
taking the piss out of people.
Like bonkers, mate. Some really cracking videos you've done over the years.
I just want to call that bollocks, you know what I mean? Like, I'm known for taking the piss out of Gracie Barra. I've literally lost jiu-jitsu friends because I've took the piss out of Gracie Barra. And I'm like, look, the environment I've got in the gym, right, is, yes, I'm the head coach, the owner, whatever, but we're all on the same level. Like, rip the fucking piss out of me, right? And, we're all keeping each other honest in that way. Whereas some of these other gyms, it's kind of like, call me professor. You can't ask me to roll. I'm going to tell you that you should have more privates, you know what I mean? And so I just try to call out, and jiu-jitsu's had a bit of a sexual assault problem, right? There's been loads of documented examples over the last 10 years of like black belts. Oh, wow. Yeah, this black belt's been arrested for fucking sexually abusing one of his female students and stuff. And and it's always these environments where they've got this fucking godlike figure that call me professor, because these fucking retards, they're like, whoa, these people bow down to me. And then, it's a short step away from, I can have my own way with my students and stuff. So it's certainly not what I want to do. You know what I mean? Even when I've been to like teaching gyms at seminars, like, oh, nice to meet you, professor. I'm like, don't fucking call me professor. Like, it's weird. Yeah. Gay as fuck. So yeah, I try to keep it real. If I lose followers as a result of being real, then so be it. But as long as I'm trying to keep a true narrative, well,
none of it's malicious, is it? And if somebody can't take the joke, there's something wrong with it. The reason they can't take the joke, because obviously a lot of it's true.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that. So I've had like people.
It touches a nerve, doesn't it, somewhere? Yeah,
there was one in COVID, right? And I shared some internal gym emails about, we're charging a one-off COVID cleaning charge. Bear in mind, this is an extremely expensive gym, right?
I remember this.
So I shared some internal emails that I'd been passed by one of the students, and the coach was like, you need to fucking stop sharing. This is proprietary email. I was like, no, it's not fucking not. You've sent it to a public mailing list.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm going to take actions against you. I says, take actions against me for what? You've released an email, right? The reason you're pissed off is because fundamentally I am right that you're trying to tax your students. So I think that, let's imagine the monthly membership's £100. And in the middle of COVID, I think it was like a 50 quid one-off cleaning charge. I was like, you're just trying to tax me. Yeah, charlatan. Yeah. I said that. So you're a fucking charlatan. You're just taxing your students. I said, so, if you're paying 50 quid for a cleaning charge, what the fuck's the £100 for? It's not just for the teaching bit, it's for the environment. You're paying your membership for all of that.
Shouldn't you be cleaning anyway?
Exactly. Yeah, it's part of it, right? So, but yeah, I'll call bullshit out where I see it, right?
It's good to see, mate. So with the all like the community you've built there, do you do a lot outside of the gym as well together, or do you keep it strictly to?
It's difficult for me.
Yeah.
If I, not regret, but like if I have one thing I wish I had more time to give, like going out and coaching the guys in comps is something I find really hard. With the amount of responsibilities I've got, I find that hard. And even social bits, yeah, like that's a challenge. Now, you know what? Fair play to the lads on my birthday a few weeks. My missus had got involved and we all went for a couple of quick bevies. But
Nice.
definitely outside of the gym is something I wish we could do more of. And that's just as a function of my time. I'm so like balls out. I don't
Isn't it
know.
so much of you, mate, isn't it? You know?
Work and family stuff. Something has to give, doesn't it? There were too many years with family life gave for us, but you make that a focus as well. Your time's limited then.
Nah, I try to like every time I do a promotion seminar, I try to like bring the two arms together, put a load of beers on, which is great when you've had like 9 beers and you're trying to roll in a gi.
Yeah.
You know. So, but yeah, it's in the future when the kids roll, I'll do more of that for sure.
But, just out of interest for myself, before we get on to the sort of your real job, what about injuries, mate? You must have had some spectacular injuries, I imagine, over the years.
I think I've been really lucky for most of my career. Like minor shit, broken toe, pulled muscle. I've been really, really lucky. Like never had a major knee injury and stuff. But it's only this last 2 years that the wheels have very much fallen off. Like, so I guess the only one to talk about now is I've got degenerative disc disease. So basically, I had an MRI about something else on my back. And he's like, oh yeah, that's not a problem. We need to talk about this. And it was like 9 of my lower back, mid to low back discs are completely like wafer thin. They're gone. I've got 1 disc that's operable in my lower back. Because I was going to him about like, oh, I've got some back pain. I thought I've got a fat lump on my back. And I thought it was that. And he's like, no, it's because your discs are fucking shot to pieces. So that's now like the major issue. Keeping fit and able to roll hard is a real challenge. Like if I eat crap, inflammation goes up, my back spasms out. If I roll too hard with bigger people, too regularly without stretching and doing yoga, my back goes, you know what I mean? The worst thing I can do, and this is a problem function of my job, if I sit in a car, perfect example, I went to Hereford, promoted Goody the other night. I drove to Merthyr to see a customer, my day job.
So not too far from.
There you go. But like, you know the distance
You got it alive then?
Yeah. Oh,
from Merthyr.
Sore bum all afterwards, but but yeah, drove all the way down, dropped in Hereford, didn't warm up. 2 rounds. I did 2 rounds and my back's fucked today. Several days later, because
sitting in a car,
and I didn't realise. Physio said to me like the load increases like by 50% by just sitting.
Yeah, massively. I had a lecture on that a few years ago. It's something ridiculous from sitting down. It's like 190% of
it as well makes a difference.
Yeah, okay.
Just on like tightness around your hips, and so I see a lot of quite well known in rugby, but a lot of the rugby lads, not just because they're bigger, will have drive like defenders and things because they're sat up and
higher.
Sat in that position is better for your hips.
Yeah, okay.
And the tightness around there. It's like,
so I think on top of that, like directly related but different. So like I posted a video the other year, me trying to like shoot a double leg. So Progress came to the gym and it was like a promotional video. Like, oh, we'll just film you doing some wrestling. And the guy I went with, he was a big dude, but he was going steady. I thought, oh, he's just going to let me, look cool on camera. So I shot a blast double, but he instantly went like fucking tough. And I snapped my head back. Oh. And I got a stinger. You guys have got them in rugby. But now my spine, I'm guessing I've got the same issue in my neck as I do in my lower back. Like the discs are shot. But like now, literally, I take a minor knock and I can't feel my hand.
Oh,
so it's genuinely, I am pretty fucked up now. Big toes, can't walk on my big toes. They don't move.
Do you lift and do you weight training between?
Yeah, I do. And that's probably the big change over the last 2 years. I think I've always been very fortunate. I've been like reasonably muscly and athletic without ever having to actually lift. I've just literally did loads of jiu-jitsu and got away with it. The last 3 years, I tried to lift a minimum once a week, definitely, or twice. And I think that helps. And even the surgeon said like your discs are in that bad a condition. If you didn't have massive psoas on the front and massive spinal erectors on the back, you'd be in a lot more shit state. So, and he would just like maintain this level of musculature, you know what I mean? So it's really important for you for as long as you can to stay strong. And like I say, I can't complain. I've got some, I'm always carrying a load of pain. It's a bit of a fucking grind. Like, you wake up in the morning, you're hanging out. But I rolled last night. All right, I rolled like a bag of shit, but nonetheless, I'm still rolling. I've not had anything that's put me out completely. So
thank God for BPC 157. Dunks is on it at the moment, actually.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe a taboo subject, but I have actively used BPC 157 like for the last couple of years, and again, that amongst other things like supplementing some of the stuff Rick gives me from Strom about managing inflammation and recovery. Right,
my shoulders was like at the point now. I'm like, I'll try anything now, get it back.
100%. Yeah. But I think without that, I think would have been done. Just like some injuries and just the ability. So it's a PED. It's not like you're jacking up a gram of Trenbolone or anything, but just to keep a bit of longevity, utilising peptide. I'm not suggesting anybody uses it. It's a research chemical only.
It's research only.
Yeah. But I have had extremely positive results with utilising peptide for the...
You were knee out, didn't you, for a bit?
Yeah, for a while it was a lot better. But glad you mentioned Rich is actually coming on and said he's going to come on the podcast.
Mate, what that guy doesn't know.
Mate, I wish Dunk saw that lecture he gave. He looks like the man, mate, in that space. He like
to the point, most things in my life, I try to take on all the decision making, the learning. Anything to do with supplementation, I just outsource my brain and go, Rick, tell me what they need to do.
That'll be interesting chat. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, like honestly, the amount of stuff, the seminar I did at the 866 weekend, it was amazing. But and I know, had Rick not come into my life and we get a relationship, I genuinely think he's put extra years of me being able to do jiu-jitsu to a decent level. I think I'd have been done competing 3 years ago. So the fact that I'm still in a position where I can get as fit as I can and compete and roll hard, in a lot of senses, is directly linked to my relationship with Rick.
Well, and you also repaid him, mate, by headline to the 2 Grapple Max and obviously winning both of them.
Yeah, man, that
was a good repay. That was brilliant events as well.
Even the second one, man, that when I talk about like professionalism and stuff like that. So rolling with Jim, one of my black belts, top boy from the SIGs, snapped my big toe 3 weeks out. He rolled over and my big toe went, so I couldn't. So it was literally twice the size. I broke my big toe 6 days before my back went, and I was on crutches for 2 days. But it was never in my mind I'm going to pull out. You know what I mean? It's like I will make it no matter what. And so I'm very pleased that despite those massive injuries in the lead up to that last title match, I got the title done.
Mate, Dank's probably want to know this, but before we go on to you, tell us about your winning celebration. Where that comes from?
You know what? I'm not actually sure where it came from, where I did it first, and it's probably built up in scale. But I guess to describe it, if anybody's seen Dragon Ball Z, it looks like it's going Super Saiyan, like But I think I was talking to one of my friends who's like a sports psychology person, and he says it's like a release of energy because I pride myself on trying to be as professional as I can, keep my emotions in check, do everything I can, you know what I mean, manage the stress, keep my shit together for so long. Imagining, keeping my day job down, being knackered, training, all that kind of stuff, and then actually winning the thing that you've been working towards. It's like all that energy you built up.
All right, Pete's dying, mate.
You're right, Shaq.
Not uncommon.
Bless you, mate. Oh, good.
Fucking hell, Pete.
No, it's fine.
Yes, you did, Pete.
Sorry, mate.
Cool.
If you keep this in, everyone knows about his cough. So
no.
Keep in.
I was listening to it in fucking Blandford officer's mess, mate. Yeah, I think one of my buddies said that it's probably a big release of energy. You've kept shit pent up for so long, and it's kind of like, oh, I've done it. You know what I mean? And at one point, somebody tried having a pop at me saying oh, it's disrespectful to your opponent. And I actually counted. I was like, fucking no, it's not.
You've won, mate.
If I celebrate to that level, that shows how much I've respected you, and I'm proud that I've overcome what you've offered, right? Yeah. So, yeah. It looks cool, I guess.
Yeah,
but even now,
you got to celebrate your wins, haven't you?
Yeah, and I think
it's a pretty epic fucking celebration.
Well, on the video, somebody sent me some footage of the last match, and as I won, and I'm like, yes. I can hear somebody in the crowd going, do the roar. And it's like a thing now. And I think what I say to some of the young guys coming up is that people need to be able to identify with something, what kind of a character or it's that guy who does the roar, or make yourself unique and identifiable.
Let's obviously, a lot of people probably won't realise you've actually got a real
day
job,
job,
and a pretty corporate job as well.
Yep.
In the defence space, which I'm sure people find interesting. And I can't imagine it's 9 to 5 either.
No, like I do really try to maintain work-life balance. That's the important thing. But yeah, so I guess without getting into huge amounts of details, yeah, like an MD of a manufacturing company. I'm going to do 80 million turnover this year. 95% of it is for defence applications. Yeah, it's bloody intense. You know, I took this current job 18 months ago. It's like, you know, just fix the profitability, grow the top line, put a factory up in Europe, and diversify your customer base. Easy. So yeah, it's mega. You know, like my corporate career is not something I ever wanted to sacrifice. Loads of people put pressure on me, like, quit, you know, go do jiu-jitsu full time. But like, I really enjoyed being in a corporate environment where you're empowered enough to go out and do your own things. And
that's what pays your mortgage, right?
Oh, fucking yeah. Like being a jiu-jitsu
family.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to have 4 kids and be a jiu-jitsu guy. You know what I mean? That it doesn't pay that much. So, but I'm in a really, really good role now. I think the where I'm at now is actually a good congruence of a lot of things. I wanted to do a corporate career. I wanted to do like the utopian job for me was like an MD or a factory, right? You know, can I go make my own decisions, got my own team, doing my own things. And I always wanted to be in the defence space. It's obviously a passion of mine. So, you know, it's an itch I need to scratch. And actually now I'm in, in that space where I can have a corporate career making things, and then I can, go to DSEI the other week. It was fucking brilliant. You know what I mean? You know, from the little boy, and I'm like, whoa, that's a tank. But actually, a lot of my friends, people, units I've trained, jiu-jitsu, there's so much crossover. And it seems like such a tight-knit community. There's only so many people, and, and everybody's on different companies and stuff, but it's very, very tight. So, but yeah, at times it's not a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Like, I travel a lot. And you guys share that, I'm sure, that same burden over the years in your careers and stuff. That's maybe the one drawback is you're on the road a fucking lot. You know what I mean? You're away from home. You're leaving your missus to deal with a family situation while you're out there carving and creating a vision and a picture. And that's the one tough bit. I wish I could split myself in half and do stuff, but I think probably from my sporting career, I don't ever want to do things by half. You know what I mean? I'm not here. It's interesting when I get interviewed for these roles, I'm always like, tell me the story of what needs to happen. Because what I don't want to hear is, it's fucking easy peasy. It looks after itself. I want to be, is it a bag of shit? Can I go and fix this role? You know what I mean? And like the last 2 roles have been companies that needed an element of transformation and turnaround. That seems to be my niche in my day job is like, metrics aren't where they need to be for whatever reason. And you need to like pull it out of the situation and fix it. And, I've got somewhat of a good track record of doing that now. And I think probably the last point I'll make on this is like, I've never been the best academically. Like I say, I'm a C student, you know what I mean? I've interviewed some of the most intelligent people on earth, and I realized like, I think intelligence only gets you so far, and I think it's some of your softer skills that really like get shit done. And I think where I provide the most value is like effective decision making, influence and motivation of the team, and you know what I mean? And then that level of work ethic. And like, I think I've done well in my career. I've gone from like, I think I've been in Korea after university, like 11 years, 12 years. Gone from like joining industry to MD of a big business now in that amount of time, because I've had this mentality that, all right, it might not be my responsibility, but if it has even a broad influence over my goals, I'm going to fucking find everything about it. You know what I mean? I've come from an ops background, but I'll know shitloads about quality because there's some area where it matters. Right?
I know you've kind of answered this, I suppose, in different ways, but do you think your success in jiu-jitsu is made you be successful in the business world?
Unequivocally. Yeah, unequivocally.
Same, mine certainly taken across. And that bit was interesting you said about, I'll know as much about what goes on operationally as the tactical level, because that helps. And that's common thread with most of the business people we speak to that are good.
Yeah,
they are like, I fully understand everything.
You got to know the levers, right?
You got to know a bit about everything to be successful, I think, and get on their level and understand what their problems are.
I wholeheartedly fuck that one up. Wholeheartedly agree. Yeah, and I think like unless you know enough context about your business, how can you be expected to influence, right, and pull the levers and stuff? So,
that's good.
And I think the mentality piece, I've had one saying I say to every single team I've ever had, right? And I've worked in loads of places where like, well, we're not going to get that part now. I'm going to miss the shipment. And the one saying I always say to every team is, I don't care, right, what it needs to be, but your job is to provide me with a plan to succeed. Yeah. If that plan needs you to fucking get the lunar module to come from space and land in the car park, and that's the only way we can win, that's fine.
There's
you tell me
way.
that, and I've got to go away if I can deliver that. But like, or a 747 flying down the motorway and landing with the part. But as long as we all have that shared aspiration for success, no matter the odds, my job's to remove the barriers, right? And I think just getting teams to start to have that level of belief and, okay, we still can win despite the odds. I think that's how we've been able to execute like business turnaround, is that not accepting that, you know, first or second or third no, is that I'm going to keep saying, why not? And yeah, shit turns around, I guess. So,
is there aspirations in the future then to, you know, obviously be a success in what you're doing there business wise, to then be able to earn enough to step away and fully commit to more of a life, I suppose, a lifestyle business with the gym?
You know what? I'm at that point now. Yeah. I'm asking that question a lot. Like, I am paid really well in my day job for what I do. You know what I mean? Like, I've got a job that I've always wanted in a corporate career, like an MD level role. I wouldn't ever want to go to my boss's job. That's even more travel, and journeying around. So I've got the job I want, paid really well to do it. So it's kind of like I've ticked that major box. So the only other variable I'm going after now is like more work-life balance. So is it kind of, could I offset my day job's earnings with more jiu-jitsu stuff? And I am, me and my business partner Neil are just, amicably but separated at the moment. So it's kind of like, okay, and I'm taking even more drive and ownership with it. So maybe not today, but maybe in 2 or 3 years, I can put myself in that position. And I think the factor is my kids. Can I not be on the road as much, not be 40, 50 hours a week in the office to spend more time with the kids? So it's definitely a highly motivating factor. I just worry because I do enjoy my day job. Yeah. So I've got loads of time with the kids. I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
Do your people in work know you're like alter ego? And
yeah.
Are they like, oh, is that karate guy again? Or do they actually like know?
No, they know, man. It's funny because every job I go into, I make a point of not saying anything in it.
People never question anything you say. Yeah, of course we'll do that.
Yeah, it doesn't take very long for it to happen, for like it to get out. I'll tell you a funny story about this. Actually, probably my third job in industry. First time I got like an operations leadership role. I was working in this town. There's a load of like Polish guys, like big fucking hard Polish guys. And I'm like, right, Lloyd, you're managing this cell now. And the first couple of days I was going down, I'm like, guys, can you go on this work order next? This is an important one. They're like, like disrespectful sort of thing. And after about a week, they're like representative, like fucking massive Polish guy, juiced out of his tits, massive arms. Lukasz comes with me. Lloyd, I see a video of you beating people up on YouTube. We have no problems now. I was like fucking brilliant. And then, honestly, obviously Polish culture, respecting combative nature, but like when they knew that I'd done MMA and jiu-jitsu, they were like fucking good as gold. And I think over the years, it is a good management tool for people to realise, okay, he's a leader, but actually, I don't know whether it's a masculine thing, I don't know, but like this guy can fucking scrap as well. So I've never had an issue with like discipline or anything. People just like, if I say, this is where we're going, they're like, all right.
There's no light rolls of Polish guys, is there?
Sorry?
There's no light rolls of Polish guys.
No, he's the fuck right now. I did a video the other week and it was like, I said to one of my guys, Matty, he's Polish, so just talking Polish, say what you want to do about like why you started jiu-jitsu. And I released the video, but I changed the subtitles. So the subtitles were like, translated. I changed the subtitles with, yes, I'm Polish, so every round is 100%. I try to smash everybody. My favourite thing is hearing people's pain when I leg lock them. And
I'm seeing that one, mate.
Oh, it's hilarious, man. Yeah, it's fucking brilliant. A lot of the Polish like jiu-jitsu guys were sharing it, like, oh, this is fucking hilarious.
That's funny.
Mate, just I suppose to sort of finish off. Obviously, we're all fans of the Through Dark thing. I take it sort of Through Dark as sort of kind of sponsor you, kind of. As one of their athletes, I suppose.
Somewhat, yeah. Like, I think I left Progress a year or two ago, and yeah, look, it's no secret me and Staz are really, really good mates. Somebody I respect a lot, and weirdly, it sounds a bit of a fucking fanboy moment. Like, I bought like Through Dark really early doors, like I don't know, 2019, 2020, I can't remember, but like I'd already bought the kit, like the brand. started to see his personality come out, see him on TV, and then actually got the opportunity to like meet and train, and since subsequently becoming good mates and stuff. So, and then that like for a period of time, they did a design for a kit, and obviously, a couple of like supply chain things happened, so that didn't happen. But then like they let me use the specially designed logo. So if you didn't see my last match on Grapple Max, but there's a bespoke logo in it. So it's the trident of Through Dark held by the gripper hand. And that fucking blows my mind. Like, to have a brand and a set of people that you've got so much respect for and you're fans of, and then actually have a congruence in my brand, like
that's amazing, man.
Oh, honestly, like every time I go down there, it blows my mind. Just seeing what they've done post their military careers, mate. They've got a fucking like 10. Like they left 2019, and they've built a 10, 15, 20 million clothing company in 5 years. That's just like wildly inspiring.
Yeah, mate. Their brand, like you said, we were talking about it. You see it everywhere now. But the worst thing to happen to a bloke is when their missus Googles Through Dark and find out
the actual price.
And,
in the
for
early
years,
days,
my missus was thinking I was wearing £20 fleeces, and then she, I love their stuff. It's just
buy cheap, buy twice, mate. That's what my nan always
I suppose I'm lucky because when I visit Through Dark, obviously over the years I've got bits of free kit off Stars, and as a thank you for teaching jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. But I also tend to buy them when I go there as well. So I'll come back with more kit, and I was like, oh no, I've got it all for free. Yeah, it's all free. And she's like, oh, okay then. But abused my credit card while I was there as well. But yeah, you know what? Shout out Stars, Louis at Through Dark, like absolute legends. Looked after me over the years. Even like the other week, I was in London. Stars invited me to the Edgar Brothers evening do. We didn't have to do that, and it was just cool as fuck, mate. And then I got to see a £1 million gun. Obviously, so he's explaining to me this gun. So there was a KS1, and he's an XSF guy. He does like artistic stuff on the gun. I'm absolutely battered. I haven't been drunk in 7 years, so I'm absolutely battered with Stars. And I'm like, oh, cool, leaning over, touching this box, and I meant the fucking the gun wobble. I'm like, oh shit, I've just nearly broken £1 million gun.
What is it? Some old, or why is it £1 million?
No, it got like auctioned off. So.
He's done artwork on it.
He's done artwork on it. So the artwork on this KS1 is like all the world's banknotes. There's like an Iraqi note on there, like really cool shit. Like on the trigger, it's "In God We Trust." And he took like some notes, and he got like 2-2 written down the side of it, like really, really fucking cool. And
that's pretty cool.
You imagine a KS1 but fully covered in different banknotes. So they auctioned it off. I guess without revealing who the buyer was, but like they said a Arab multi-billionaire was going to buy it for 800 grand, and at the last minute a British person from a banking background put £1 million down and kept it.
Oh, nice.
And it's fucking
that's cool,
mate, really cool weapon, mate. I'll show you the picture afterwards.
Sure.
I'm pissed up. Staz is explaining to me, and I trip up and nearly
and then fall and knock it off
the dick. But yeah, love that guy. I love the brand.
No, mate, thanks so much for doing this, mate. Really
Legend, lads, thank you.
Really enjoyed this, mate. On lots of levels. No, thank you, man.
Top shaggers.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.